So, welcome back to segment 3 of our interview here with Ramesh Shurma from Orion Governance. And in the first 2 segments, we dealt with a number of issues. This third segment, we're going to be focused on the topic of compliance. And of course, it's all within the context of the challenges of making sound and trustworthy decisions. You know, when it comes to compliance, obviously that's one of the key drivers for compliance, is to provide the right information so the right decisions can be made in the organization. So compliance in itself obviously is a massive subject. There's so many things that one could talk about within this space, but if we just try and boil it down to the major hallmarks that you see as far as, components of a successful compliance program. Ramesh, what do you see?
So I would say near-time insight into what's going on within the enterprise, right? I mean, the vast majority of programs tend to be essentially, lipstick put on to make it look pretty, but in reality, it's very surface level. The problem is when you really get audited, are you ready for it? So a good compliance program starts with all the foundations of proper governance that permeates all the way into the depths of the organization. And this is really what I define as good governance. It's all about transparency in people, process, product. And if you could accomplish all of that, then I think you're very well set to be compliant. And it has to be something that you can react in real time, because it's not a one-time check and you say everything looks good. Based on the software development life cycles and the fact that things are constantly changing within the enterprise, you've got to be one step ahead of those changes. And that, to me, is a hallmark of a really good compliance program.
Mm. Yeah.
How can you prevent it? Don't react after the fact. Be proactive. Yeah.
Right. That whole proactive side of it is key for sure. You know, one of the things that I know a lot of chief data officers struggle with is how much time should they spend on trying to solve compliance issues versus how much time should they spend on innovations for the enterprise. I think a lot of CDOs initially were focused just on compliance and they weren't doing anything about innovation in the enterprise. Others just came straight in and hit the innovation side, only to find that they were running foul of their compliance, colleagues in the organization. How do you feel like people are addressing both sides of that situation these days?
I think it's just plain old reactive mode of operation today. I mean, it's a frenzy. As I said earlier, being a CDO is a thankless job. And what you don't know, you don't know. And in this era of zero-day threats and increased regulations and punitory measures, right? It's the sword of Damocles that's hanging over your head all the time. You never know when it's going to fall. And unfortunately, ignorance is bliss. And when it hits, you don't know what hit you. And I believe that's still the mode of operation. And the only way to change this way of operating is really through disruption and innovation.
So how do your customers then keep their heads above water in this kind of situation that we're in?
Yeah, the key here is to take a lot of the workload off of them, the stuff that they've been doing manually, and building that proactive mechanism of alerting them to potential hotspots or troubled areas so they don't have to react. In a very manual way of doing it, everything is hearsay. I mean, you're trusting that somebody else has done his or her job, right? And really permeating the context of the importance of what it means to the enterprise across the depths of the enterprise is a huge challenge. And as I said, there are these silos that operate independent of one another. It's a huge communication problem. And the best way to solve, or at least ameliorate this issue, is to automate as much as you can and to provide a proactive mechanism. That's kind of what we've been doing. In cases where you have a risk model that has not functioned correctly, and the regulator is breathing down your neck saying, show me how you calculated your risk exposures, and how come you didn't calculate this? You can't go and tell them that I didn't have proper controls on my IT landscape. So what we've tried to do with our customers is to help them take control of that, and even pass internal audit. I mean, get better control of your IT assets in the landscape. Let the system proactively report to you potential pitfalls, and then now you could focus on innovation. We focus on taking a lot of the additional workload away so that they can kind of sleep well at night, knowing that we've got their backs covered.
Yep. No, that sounds like exactly the way to go. That proactive opportunity, seizing that opportunity, and taking a lot of the manual work out of this situation. Maybe as a final question, for the audience, if you could kind of bring it all together, we've spoken about a number of aspects here. What would be the one thing that you would want the audience to take away with them, having listened to all three parts of this interview?
Yeah, I think you need to be more demanding. Do not drink the Kool-Aid that is sold by a lot of the vendors. And the analogy that I just used earlier is, let's just say you're using Google Maps for your navigation. And if I were to tell you that I will get a bunch of consultants in and update the traffic information every 3 hours or 4 hours, how many of you would be using Google Maps going forward? The name of the game here is really automation. Don't believe everything that a vendor sells you. Don't buy something that's not going to solve your problem. I think you need to escalate your requirements to the point where in this dynamic world where things are moving, where you're faced with increased pressures, you should demand more of your vendors. And automation is key. Do not buy anything where they throw a bunch of consultants in and try to solve this problem that has to be solved in near real time. So ask more of the vendors that you're dealing with. That's kind of what I would say. Force the industry to innovate, because you need that innovation to succeed.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. So automation, modernization, and compliance, the three key aspects that we've spoken about in terms of the challenges that chief data officers face around making sound and trustworthy decisions, enabling the organization to take those kinds of decisions. So, Ramesh, thank you for your insights and for sharing them with us, and some of those scenarios that you painted, real life experiences that you've had, very helpful for our audience. So, thanks once again to you,
Derek,
and to Orion Governance, and all the best for your future.
Thank you very much.
One last word to our audience: make sure that you take in all three of the segments so you can get the full story. And also check out cdomagazine.tech for all sorts of other really exciting topics and great insights. So thanks for joining us, and that's it for now.
See you guys. Bye.